Le chemin du roi. The king's path has already been chosen. Drink responsibly.
Episode 5, man. We live at House of Fresh with my brother from another mother, Kai Verse.
Say that.
Tyler.
Say that.
Yeah.
That's what they
How you
call
doing,
him.
brother?
Doing amazing.
Yeah.
How are you?
Yeah, I can't complain, man. We're alive.
It's been a couple weeks. You know what I'm saying? Good to see you
definitely.
again. For
Definitely.
Sure, as always. Mm-hmm.
You know, for people that don't know
Sure.
who Verse is,
Right.
and I'm sure a lot do,
Right.
but just give me a breakdown. Give the viewers a breakdown of who Verse is.
Oh, man. Okay.
Oh, man. Where you from?
We summing up. Verse is from Jersey originally.
Correct.
When it decided to reside in the A.
Correct.
Almost 20 years ago.
Definitely.
20 plus year music executive. Started off as an artist way back.
Very strong.
Yeah.
I didn't know that though.
Yeah, I started as an artist. On my arm tattooed his Verse with a microphone. So I was a rapper. Big shout out to JoJo Brim and Kev Lyles and Leo and all the guys that first gave me a shot at Def Jam when I went up to even rap in the conference room.
Strong.
When I was an artist, and my mentors in the rap business was like Diamond D, you know what I mean? DITC, the whole Dingin' in the Crates crew. So I would spend nights and nights and nights at Diamond D's crib, and it's like, mind you, like I didn't know that he was a producer too. I just knew he had a one-track mind. And when I went and met him, he lived not far from my mom's in South Orange, New Jersey. Everybody lived up there. Chris Lighty, God bless the dead, Lauren Hill, she's still up there, Black Thought, all these different people, the M2 Mays, everybody lived up in South Orange in Jersey, prominent area in New Jersey. And,
correct.
Diamond kind of taught me how to count bars, and I was a big freestyler. I'd be in the car rapping for 3, 4, 5 minutes, and he's like, yo, listen, let me share with you how to count bars, and let me share with you how to structure a song. So that's when it became a canvas. Like, okay, the beat is the canvas. Now, how you gonna paint on it? I started rapping. He's like, no. You have to paint on it. You got to start with the hook first, because you don't even know what you're rapping about first.
Correct.
You know what I mean? So
correct.
That's how that came about. And then, moving forward, I went into, the management side and development side of things, because one of my mentors, Bernard Alexander, longtime music executive, he ended up having a pop group, young pop group named Mindless Behavior. And then I ended up going on a world tour with them, and then being in the narrative of cultivating inside their rehearsals all the way to the shows, inside of the records. So big shout out to Bernard Alexander and Walter Millsap.
Correct.
And that's like where it started for me in the development side, and looking at other artists and really gauging talent and what was and what wasn't. But, overall throughout the years, I've been able to hold positions with Take-Two, who owns the 2K Games franchise, with NBA 2K, from NBA 2K12 all the way up. I've worked on all of those projects as a co-sound coordinator.
That's strong.
So within that, I started transitioning over into various label jobs from Warner Brothers, being a director and president over there, bringing Jill Scott over there, Common over there, a couple of other artists, and getting my feet wet inside the major system, right? And understanding what that felt like, what it sounded like, and, what it looked like. And then from there, I was able to manage a lot of dope producers, going into a space of, God bless the dead, my best friend who passed away, Insane Wayne, a.k.a. Pharrell Miles.
Brother Wayne.
Yes, Brother Wayne. And, he and his brother, Drummer Boy, with being the founders of the Drum Squad, I was able to have a narrative where becoming a manager of a producer, became a thing of mine. And that's how I was actually able to get into the doors of 2K, because of Insane Wayne. And then from there, my management career was birthed for producers. So I've managed, top 10 producers, from Ray Keys to Cicero from 808 Mafia, to Zeta Rhoda, one of the top songwriters out there. Just so many. Trilogy from New York, and I mean, we've done records from Coco Jones, ICU, all the way across to Lil Baby, My Turn, and Emmanuel, and it's so many different creatives that are under my company. The Luxury Group, where I was able to spawn that off and go into a partnership with Sony Music Publishing, which was Sony ATV, when I went into that partnership. And I thought that was really dope, because of being able to have a narrative where I would have a home to take the producers that I was actually managing, and having them have a bandwidth to be able to work, with another slew of great producers and writers as well too. So, that became my career inside of one. But then also going in and being a master deal maker, having relationships with, all the record labels from the big three, all the way down to the independents, you know, being able to navigate large publishing deals for, you know, outside artists that weren't signed to me, like Sada Baby. I signed him to Sony with a whole lot of choppers and Nicki Minaj. You know, Rod Wave, you know, did his deal over at Sony Music Publishing. Also, you know, DJ Bands and the OTF, Lil Durk, you know what I mean? Now, you know, because you see a lot of ads and Billboard and stuff, and people who actually are front mans for the company, they have taken, you know, credit for it and stuff like that, which is nothing wrong with that. But those people had to get to the building in some way, and I was that,
and you
liaison,
facilitate that
1000%, and also and also be compensated for it as well. So, you know, restructuring companies as well, going across my luxury group has been instrumental in restructuring companies, independent companies as well, such as you know, the former home of Meg Thee Stallion at 1501, certified in Texas with Carl and the guys down there. You know, and you know, it was really good because I was able to lend my expertise, you know, to that narrative and bring some sort of structure, you know, that had a cool foundation, but to make it more solidified, it had to be, you know, seen as a reputable place, you know, and having someone like me attached to it, you know, I saw brought a little bit more light in the space outside of the negative commentary.
And to solidify the foundation.
1000%.
Because structure is very necessary.
Yes, it is.
Everybody can look at it from the outside, but it requires certain brothers like yourself to bring forth proper structure,
organization,
you know, and to handle some things. Sometimes you got to clean up some business
all day. And,
with any business.
With any business. It could be a bodega all the way to $1 billion firm. You know, I have a friend of mine who comes in and goes to companies and fires employees for a living. Because it's part of the restructuring. You know what I mean? So I mean, being able to be of service in that manner, you know, and bring results has been a blessing in itself. And I can even ask for much more besides living more inside of my gift, which that, you know, entails those things that I've named and I've aforementioned. So
and see, you are already within the gift is always spirituality.
You can't have nothing without spirit.
Period. So I like to always start off with chop talk. With spirituality. You know, so at the end of the day, every man should have a regimen. Men and women should have a regimen.
Routine.
So what do you feel is your go-to every day in terms of spirituality? Your regimen to tap in with the higher power.
Of course, 1000%. It's good. Well, you know, I have a admin exec who been working with me, and I don't like to say working for me, working with me. You know, for the last few years, and you know, she's been big on energy since I met her, right? And she had gotten me more into meditation, you know, because it made it part of my routine. Besides just waking up and working out and then going and showering and getting some food, it was more so about, let's go ahead and feel the ground. Take your shoes and socks off, walk outside in the morning, let's feel the ground, let's feel the earth, let's feel what the energy is speaking from the universe, right? And, you know, that allowed me to say every morning, and it's been a regimen of mine for like the last couple of years, is to go to the river, you know, and go meditate for a 30 to 45 minute period. And that actually turned into, let me go to the river to go to work. Because I would sit there and actually get so many emails done. I would get so many different projects done, sitting there in stillness, no TV, no Instagram, no nothing, just the water, serenity, and then my communication device. But this communication device talking to the universe was very important. So that meditation is mandatory in my routine.
And
so,
that's
in
your
regimen. Routine every morning. Every morning. It's part of my regimen. Every morning.
So with that being said, and that's very strong, a lot of brothers and sisters don't give the creator in the universe enough time. They just wake up and jump into social media. And
I can't do that. Let me tell you. So this is the thing. So I got two things that are part of my before 12 o'clocks, right? One of them is that I program my phone so it's on Do Not Disturb until 10 a.m. Reason why I do that is because I'm up at 6:37. So that gives me my 3-hour period to meditate, work out, have the time to myself, digress, shower, change, and then my phone comes off Do Not Disturb at 10 a.m. I'm ready to go. So that's the reason why I think it's very important that people program themselves to a certain time. So before 12 o'clock, music selection is very important.
Oh, man.
So, you know, what I've trained myself and then my staff also to do, and anybody that is actually being, you know, in the education space with me and listening, what I've done is been in a space where before 12 o'clock, you don't listen to any rap music. And it wasn't so much about rap music per se, because everything that's in the 80s and the 90s would justify what a hit record sounds like.
Definitely,
Whether it may be, Denise Williams, Hear It for the Boy, or whether it might be, Tina Marie, or it might be, It Never Rains in Southern California, or Chucky Booker Games, Madonna, Cherish, or Holiday. These records are records. So let's tune our ear, because in our line of work, at 12 o'clock and on, your ear is going to be hearing so many different things. I need you to be able to justify what a hit record sounds like and what it doesn't, within listening to it for the first 15 seconds. When you listen to Janet Jackson, Pleasure Principle, in the first 15 seconds, you know that it's a smash.
Without a doubt.
So,
without a doubt,
what is the difference between now and then? The difference is because those individuals who are judging music now don't go for that, because they don't know about that. They've been programmed on another frequency. So that's why Puff say this is the album that I'm doing. Big shout out Puff too, because he put a monster album out in the Love era, Off the Grid.
Correct.
Crazy. The tunes are amazing. The whole album's dope. But that's the reason why. That because he bring that vibe, he know what he was trying to get to, what he was trying to hear, and he got to that point, and that's where I think it shows and resonates how much of the world is out of sync with, with that, because the album should have sold 5 million off the top, but what happens is that the people who are consuming music and how they consume music is not on Spotify, or it's not just on YouTube, you know what I mean? These people are still listening to not CDs, but stuff off their computer, Pandora or whatever, and once again, you have to have something to have people so accessible to it, they have no choice but to go to it and listen.
And with that being said, there's always, at least in my mind, I always ask myself, and I like to ask gentlemen like yourself, what is the spiritual importance of having a relationship? Now, this is where I want to give some clarity. This is not a conversation about religion.
Sure.
Because you got Yahweh, Allah, you got Buddha, Hinduism, Jah.
Right, Lord,
right,
Jesus Christ. You know what I'm saying?
For the sake of this question, though, Claude, what do you feel is the spiritual importance of having a relationship with whatever you want to call him or her? Higher power.
Okay.
What do you feel is the importance of, like, really making that relationship strong? Not the regimen. But your choices you make, people you deal with, who you decide to deal with. What is the importance of having that relationship? For me, it's protection.
Yeah, but I think, when we pray, at least I know when I pray, I always pray to, for the Lord to protect me for the known and unknown. Dangers seen and unseen, and I think it's very important to have that relationship with God or with the Most High, with Buddha, or whomever you pray to. Right? Because, having that second person, because the first person you talk to is you. The second person you need to always talk to is God. You know what I'm saying? Because you're number one. You talk to God, you talk to the higher power. I think it's so important because it provides balance. So with having that communication and that relationship with him, whomever you claim to be him, I think those certain higher powers will be able to, thwart, certain threats and certain harm that may come your way. Without you even knowing it. And I think having that relationship and being able to speak with the higher power, you have to be in tune with yourself. And I think that's very important to protect yourself. You know what I mean? Like, that's how I feel. And I think that's the main thing, is like not just protection, but it's more so balance. Because you can't be one-sided. That seesaw stuck up in the air for life don't make nothing but rust.
Period. Or you burning the midnight oil, and that's going to get caked.
Of course.
Caked up.
That's right, 100%.
And for me as well, and you hit on so many strong points in terms of spirituality, but for me it's guidance. Because I don't have all the answers.
Never do. No one.
And I can talk with intelligence brothers like yourself, or Drum, or Wayne.
That's right. Still, that's right.
Give me proper guidance, because I'm sometimes this shit get cloudy.
It does. Often. Often. Yeah, often. It's
not. I need the spiritual guidance, the wisdom.
And the wherewithal. Somebody needs to be able to install that in you and instill that in you, because that's just like somebody working out. You going to the gym every day, but you're going by yourself. You really doing 35% of the effort because there's nobody there to push you. When you got somebody, yo, get that money. What are we doing? Get that money. Let me get all that about you. You're being pushed. You know what I'm saying? Or whatever. And that's why I feel like it's so needed for you to have that higher power to push you, because nobody can do nothing alone. I don't care what they say. So it's very important to me and everybody I interact with. For that spirituality to be there. You
touched on something. The spirit is very, very, very important.
1,000%.
Very important, because at the end of the day, you can make a lot of choices on your own. But making those choices, like I tell people, I tell my nephews, especially my son.
Sure, of course.
You can't change a man or a woman.
Facts.
Okay.
Facts.
They have to make a choice combined with their connection to higher power.
That's right.
To make change,
That's
because God makes the seasons change.
All day.
It's 4, man.
All day. It's 4 hours. That's right. Say that then.
Yeah.
That's right. 1,000.
Fall, winter, spring, summer, all of that.
That's right.
So there's no reason for us to try and change. We have to let men and women have that relationship.
Of course.
Let God change them.
Of course.
Then we can have conversations about the structure, how we're going to proceed forward after the change
but it's on them,
occurs.
though.
Exactly.
It's on them. It's
Without a
the same
doubt.
thing, but it's the same thing with prison, right? Like,
Yeah.
I hate to be relative and make that relative because of the experience.
It's
I've
real,
had.
though. It's real.
But it's real, right? It's because what happens is that correctional facilities don't correct anything. They're just called that.
Correct.
People go in there, they get back to gambling, they get back to the same street trigonometry and things that they've been dealing with before they went
It's just
into prison.
contained.
It's just contained.
Yeah.
Right? So you have to correct yourself. So I had to make the decision to me to say, all right, what is wrong that you need to be corrected?
Correct.
Whatever it is.
Correct.
It might not even have nothing to do with what you went to jail for. It
Exactly.
might just be you. Correct yourself.
Just advice.
Get to know you.
Yeah.
Get to know you. When I sat in the shoe, when I was in the hole, and I was, you know what I mean, in transit and all these different things that allowed me to sit with me.
Correct.
You know what I mean? And sitting with me allowed to say, okay, how strong are you?
Definitely.
What are your weak points? Because everybody has a weak point. Be vulnerable, and you got to be vulnerable. I wasn't vulnerable to any woman that I've ever been with ever in my life outside of my mama until I got with before I got with Carly.
Correct.
You know what I'm saying? Like when I got with her, like I was really, really vulnerable, like to the point because I felt like I could trust her spirit. That's what she gave me. Not saying my former, lady friends didn't give me that. It was just the fact of the matter that I was on different levels.
Correct.
And I felt like being vulnerable is 75% of the battle in life in those relationships. Because if you're not, everybody got pride, everybody holding this up. And hey, man, if you're afraid about it being revealed, then just don't say it. And if you can't say it to your significant other, then you might not need to be with her. So,
I really can't. Ooh, that's a mouthful of truth. Because at the end of the day, it goes back to the levels of our journey, of where we're at as men.
Facts.
Both with wisdom and growth.
Facts.
And what we went through.
Facts.
And everybody that you might feel like you're in love with at that part of, especially me, I can speak for myself, it wasn't really ever, it was love there. It was just really lust. I just wanted to ball them up.
That lust, that's all.
You know what I'm saying?
That's right. You trying to pack them up. And listen, and nothing wrong with that. There's nothing wrong with being honest with yourself.
Correct.
Because I'm going to tell you something. Not for nothing, the first thing that you do is look. The first thing that you do is see. You don't know. You can't feel. She across the room. If you tell me you feel her energy from over there, you lying. You know what I'm saying? Something drew you in. If you want to call that energy the way she looks, okay, fair enough.
Yeah.
But be as well as honest with ourselves. You know what I mean?
And that's the key ingredient. If you're lying to yourself, it's you got a lot of work to do.
Ain't no trap. But listen, having a lot of work to do now, this is where we get it really fucked up at.
Correct.
There's people who are super successful who still have a lot of work to do.
Definitely.
You know what I'm saying? And this is what gets it fucked up because the people that have less work to do might not have as much money, right, or bandwidth, right?
Correct.
But guess what? They got less work to do. It's so many people that got so much work to do that are well off right now.
Definitely.
Imagine if they will do that to work on themselves.
Ooh, the same effort that they put in to get that chop.
Now, let's not get it wrong. We understand money is the root of all evil, then you need evil to live, so to speak, right?
Depending on how you use the money.
Money's a tool.
Yeah,
this is how I feel. I feel money is a tool.
Yeah.
I feel money is something that you use to get to somewhere else.
Definitely.
Right? Now, until you become wealthy, it's always a tool. Until you got $500 million, it's always a tool. You might go to your grave with it being a tool and might have $1 million, but it's still a tool for you to get somewhere else. Because guess what? Your tools can't have another mechanic attached to it until you have a salary available. And you can't have a salary available until you got like $500 million. Then, only then, can you pass your tools off to somebody else. That shit you was using as a tool, okay, now I don't need to use it as a tool. It's on autopilot. Correct. Somebody else doing that.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
And that's a very true, real statement. So that leads me to my next question for you, Brother Cloth, is what areas do you feel you can improve on?
Sure.
In regards to your spiritual journey with God? Where can you improve to just make that journey more real? It's already been real.
Sure.
But where do you feel like there's areas for improvement in terms of your journey and your walk, your spiritual walk?
Speaking to him more.
Yeah.
Speaking to him more consistent, because like I ain't gonna hold you. Like sometimes I slip and don't say my prayers before I go to sleep, and my girl be like, "Yo, we say prayers before we fly. We say prayers before we eat. We say prayers before we go to sleep. We say prayers when we wake up." That's the jewel. Now watch this. Having me communicate with the Lord throughout the day is very important, and I don't do it enough, because guess what? I started doing it a lot more when I woke up and realized, like, yo, don't be trying to call on this nigga when you need him now. You know what I mean? You're supposed to talk to him every day. So having that conversation and relative conduct means everything for the spirit, because they have to be able to endure exactly what it is that you're trying to explain. You know what I mean? Like, it's like, yo, the Lord himself, you know, he's a person, he's a spirit, he's something. So you speak to him, right? But you can speak to him often. Sometimes when you get mad and get into a rage, sometimes you need to go somewhere over here and then go have a conversation with God. You're not talking to yourself, you're talking to the higher power. So me, I feel like I could loop him in a lot more, have a lot more conversations with him. So
I agree 100%. And that is, I think everybody can relate to that. You know, you can post it on the Instagram and post all of the positive energy, but if you're not living it, and actually doing what we're talking about, and we all have room for improvement.
All have room for improvement. That's the thing about it, being vulnerable and being honest with yourself, doing a camera check and realizing that you can do better.
Correct. So we're going to now that was probably one of the strongest spiritual conversations I've had with a brother in quite some time, because it brings real life experiences to the spirit. But we're going to transition into this business.
All right, say that then.
We got you got the luxury group.
Sure.
So at the end of the day, what businesses and brands, current artists are you currently dealing with? From luxury group, from there to future brands that you current brands you're working with, or artists. So what do you have? What's going on with that currently?
Man, currently, right? So, you know, the luxury group, of course, over the past 2.5 years has delved into the merch business really heavy, and have extended the arm. You know, I have a good friend, Andy Hilfiger, and of course, you know, Tommy Hilfiger as well. Great family friends as well for years, right? And now business associates. We have ventured off in the luxury group as a conduit to heavy merch, right? To whether it be a fabric, whether it be a hat, whether it be a sock, or whether it be a shoe or a pant or fragrance, right? So right now, you know, going into that space, we're doing a skincare line, of course, for Carly Red. We have a
very strong.
Yeah, we have a fragrance line that we're doing now, also that we're working on for Cardi B.
Dope.
You know, and being in that those spaces and arenas allow us to bandwidth, because we have the accessibility to be able to do those things. So why not cultivate my relationships with me being myself into the luxury group, so when they need to reach Polo G, or they like to have a deal for a Fabio Foreign, or Timberland wants to do a deal, like, for example, we were doing a lot of the brand engagement in the beginning of Lola Brooke's career, when she took off, and we actually did, you know, the 50-year anniversary for Timberland with Lola Brooke. And that was courtesy of the luxury group as well, too, right? So being in that space allows me to have the bandwidth, to have the manufacturers, to have the designers, to have the allocations to be able to do it. From Selma Slims, you know, having all of her merch go out direct to consumer. You know, the D2C business is very big. You know, and going across the board, we're working on a line for Lil Durk as well, too. You know, being in there with fitted hats and also jerseys and different things like that. Well, not just so much jerseys, but apparel that assembles sports apparel as well, too. Working on something right now called Ganja God with Mike Tyson.
Got you.
You know, so going into like larger auspices where the brand is really, really big and the person is really, really big, we want to be able to attack it so the overhead can be minimum and the profit can be maximum. So, you know, liquor deal we're doing right now with the company Scissor, that's actually, and myself and Carly Red have partnered with the company, the same company that did the Scissor for Jim Jones and Cameron. They have the Scissor, big shout out to my boy E. Bugatti. He ended up putting it together, and my partners Mike Viola and the Viola brothers. We ended up cultivating the Scissor with Carly Red and actually having a rum punch to come behind it called Perfect. You know, so we've been in the liquor business really big, going into that handle, and it's been really great, for sure, 1,000,000%. So that's just a couple of things on the branding side, you know.
I like to hear you talk about that merch. It get me real tingly. So,
you're
going to have to let Harie Robinson Jr. get a taste.
Without a question. Without a question.
I've been doing the merch for 15 years, but anyway, we already know that's locked.
We know that's locked. Yeah, for sure.
But the artist, it's a young lady.
Sure.
That I heard her music.
Sure.
You played the last time you were here.
Okay. Yeah, that's Versi Piccone. She's Italian. You know, she's from College Town, College Station, outside of Houston. Yes, very, very, very amazing singer. We looking forward to crushing. You know, going out this fourth quarter and crushing the first quarter coming up.
Correct.
We have 3 singles that's lined up back to back to back.
I know you got one with drum too, right?
Ain't no question. Woo. I mean, listen, Count Me In with Drummer Boy, produced by my brother Drummer Boy. Count Me In. We got another record called Mama Still Got It. We got another record called we got another record called Chaos, aka Love a Little Mess, and we're working with a couple of different, huge people. Still looking to get Timbaland on the situation right now, but I'll keep my good friends, The Dream, Drummer Boy, Sean Garrett, you know, and making sure I got my guys who are my personal friends and hitmakers to be able to make sure this project is maximized to the highest level. So yeah, Versi, be on the lookout for her for sure. That is something, and it's top 40. Just so we clear,
top 40.
This is pop music, alternative. We're actually in another space outside of the rap, but it's music, and I'm a music person, not just a genre specific.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
exactly.
you can walk across different genres based off of your ear and your tenure in the game.
It's the Sonics, baby. Yeah. Big shout out to my brother Andrew Gould, one of the bosses at Rock Nation Publishing. He told me something that really stuck with me. He said, "Listen, it always starts and ends with the music."
Period.
And I feel that so much because I wouldn't be in the space brand wise, I wouldn't be in the space deal wise if it wasn't for the music. The music gave me the entry point.
And in the proper rooms.
Yes, at the seat at the right table. So, big love to and big shalom to my Jewish brothers and sisters, who I do a lot of business with.
Correct.
And not for nothing, we are business people. We don't really see color.
Correct.
We see cultural influence.
Yeah, definitely.
We see cultural currency, and we see love. We don't necessarily see disdainment. We don't see competition. And that's the thing that they've kind of instilled in me, as well as that I already was believing, and my OGs instilled in me as well. They just backed it up and just said, listen, man, all the competition is at the bottom of the barrel, and all the collaboration is at the top. So when you collaborate and you're not really worried about the dog-eat-dog tit-for-tat world, you let that be for the people with the competition scavenging at the bottom.
Yeah, the rat race action.
Of course, and how you separate yourself is that you step to the side and you take your time going to the top. Meanwhile, everybody else is in the rat race in front of you. You let them get tired.
I'm trying to tell you.
Yeah, so,
without a doubt.
Yeah, it's a fact.
Which leads me to my next question, and this is always an interesting one for me.
Okay.
Time.
Sure.
Versus money. What's more valuable?
Time.
Yeah, all day.
Time.
You can't press the rewind
without even thinking about it, because you can't get 452 on October 4th back. You know what I mean?
Man,
you can't get that back. So
there's no way around it.
When you run life's camera back, we wish your life could be on a DVR, but it's not.
Correct.
And time becomes the most valuable asset in any man or woman's life, because that's what's going to depict how you can spend the money, if you can make the money to spend, and how long you're able to sustain that. That's all have to do with time. Like I say, it's like Clarence Avant, God bless the dead, he said, life is numbers.
Period. There's no way around it. And I'm glad you said time off the rip, because we're going to forever get some chop.
All day.
As long as we make the right decisions, as we talked about earlier, with having the spirit ahead of us.
Sure, of course.
For more guidance. We're going to get some chop. So, I live with no regrets based off what the Creator has provided. Of course, at the end of the day, time is going to always be valuable.
And what's for you is for you. Everybody that's doing what they do, guess what? You said exactly that. They doing what they do.
Correct.
You can't worry about them doing what they do. You got to do what you do. And then, whether that may be feeling like less than because you're not running around with Drake or you're not running around with a certain rapper, that don't mean nothing. Like, because guess what? That ain't for you to be a wingman. It's for you to be the man. They don't get that. Like, everybody ain't meant to be a hangman. You know what I mean? A lot of people are meant to be superiors, but what happens is that they tap out.
Correct.
You know what I mean?
Burning the midnight oil.
And they don't get to the goal. The goal for you is for you to be the leader. You know what I mean? But,
and
sometimes they miss that. Of course. Yeah. Of course. You're supposed to, I got to empower so I can empower. Anything that I've done in my career, I have to make it look for like for right now, on 2
Correct.
years before on, I wanted to be, well, 5 or 6 years before on, I wanted to be of service to people.
Correct.
Like, it was a time in my life where I didn't know what that meant.
And that's what we're supposed to do.
See what I mean?
Yeah.
See what I'm saying? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know that. You know, and because guess what? I wasn't taught that. I was taught to treat people how I want to be treated. But do you know what being of service mean? Like, a lot of people don't know that. So
they don't get
it's
it.
like, I don't care if you're paying for a lady groceries, you know, inside the store.
Correct.
Or whether you're getting a young lady gas or old lady gas.
Paying it forward.
And then you're paying it forward.
Yeah.
Because you only get to keep what you give. So, you know.
Man, and I come from a family of givers, so anybody that's going to try and take from me or people that's in our circle,
1,000.
it's never going to work.
Never going to work.
You know what I'm
Never
saying?
gonna
The
work.
shortest cut is the longest route.
Say that. Listen, you take your shortcut, you get cut short. And it becomes the longest route because it's going to either cost you more,
Yeah.
you might as well just went around that track 2 more times.
Well,
and
you
cut
might
across
be
the
laying in
field.
that dirt, man, 6 feet, man.
Say that.
You know what I'm
Say
saying?
that.
Roots
Facts.
growing through you
Say
now.
that.
Now where we
Facts.
at in life.
I'm trying to tell you.
But, you know, we're going to kind of move forward to your suggestions of how to handle. This could be for artists. It could be for engineers, writers. It could be entrepreneurs, people on the way up, independents. What is the importance? What do you feel like is, what suggestions can you give to handling your back-end business? You know, your back-end business, your structure.
Yeah.
A lot of people like to jump to the creative, and then they see stuff in videos that they want to attain.
But they don't know the middle
Back-end
part.
is
Back
trash.
end, but see, that's the thing.
Yeah.
Artists, producers, writers, creators, like your back end, I talk to so many different creators and the like, and I ask them about a PRO, and they don't know what I'm speaking about. And I'm like, what you mean? Like, you don't know your...
What's PRO?
Well, PRO is a performing rights organization.
See?
So what happens with that is that you got to have a house for your money to come to. And those houses are called CSAC. Those houses are called Harie Fox. Those houses are called BMI. Those houses are called ASCAP. So when I asked them who their PRO is, they don't have one. That's part of your back end. So within that back end, you going to tell me how much you can get paid from satellite radio because you don't know. And you think, oh, I'm getting into my BMI. Okay, you think you know something. All right. But have you signed your sound exchange agreement? Oof. Well, shit, what that is. And I'm like, huh? What do you mean? You just said your thing was together. It's not together. Sound exchange, so you can get paid off satellite radio. So you overspending all this time on Shade 4-5. Big shout out to my team over there in Sirius XM. Great Rizzy. You already know the vibes. And my man, Ron Mills, XM. Big shout out to them over there, the whole team, Hip Hop Nation. All that. And I did a partnership with Trek Bicycles and Ride with Rizzy and Shade 4-5 as well, too. That I wanted to speak on. I be having so much going on, I be forgetting, you know what I mean? But yeah, we do a 5,000 mile trek across New York State, you know what I'm saying? Which is a 5 mile trek across New York State at each section, you know what I mean?
Exactly.
Every other week. So in any event, I feel, you know, the most important thing, you know, within that is always to have the balance. You know what I'm saying?
Correct.
Like that's all it is. It comes from that.
Balance.
Comes from that, just the balance. You know what I mean?
And knowing that you don't know everything, you need to ask questions.
You never do. Nobody knows.
We learn
everything.
till the day we die.
Nobody knows everything. Nobody knows everything. Nobody. So I would never get into that space and not give, you know, the education behind it, because what happens, what's missing on the back end when it comes to the structure is that you go sound exchange, you go PRO. Now, guess what? You got a bunch of Apple Music plays.
Correct.
We get that. But how you getting paid from that? You think BMI, the distributor's paying you? They're not. Because guess what? You need an outside administration company to collect your U.S. Apple Music downloads, your U.S. mechanicals, a.k.a. your downloads. You need to have a company collecting that for you. That's a separate check. So you got 1 million downloads, you got 1 million plays on Apple Music, you haven't got paid for them if you don't have an admin deal.
Correct. Ooh, yeah. Which is going to bring me to my next topic, the luxury group. That's your baby.
No doubt.
So is it specifically music? I know you touched on the merchandising.
Sure. Music and branding.
Music and branding. Okay.
Yeah, music and branding. And within that, you know, comes the structure of consultation.
Correct.
You know, comes the structure of distribution, putting records out.
Correct.
You know, and actually management, you know, going into that. You know, I got 6 employees and 4 interns, and I have a A&R department. I have a talent coordinator department.
Very
I have
strong.
a operations department that kind of schedules all the logistics when it comes to the flights, to the phone calls, and mitigating all of the things that go on within the producers and the writers and sessions as well.
Correct.
It so happens that I don't have no startup producers. All of my producers and writers are seasoned.
Correct.
So they all have a calendar. I can choose to scroll over to their calendar and see what session Zeta got, see what session Trilogy got, see what session these different people got. Correct. Oh, he's in with Dave East, or he's in with Coco Jones. I'm
Correct.
seeing all these things because these people are operating maybe off a relationship that I created or didn't create.
Correct.
But I'm in the loop because they're under the umbrella. So that's how
Correct.
how it goes for me.
That's very strong.
On the production side.
With Luxury Group and just your tenure in the game, how have you dealt with the ups and downs of whether it be a transaction, a deal, or an agreement, or a misunderstanding?
Sure.
How do you deal with that when you got a lot of moving parts?
Well, see, I've always been taught that, like, you can't eat. Like, LL Cool J had a line back in the day with this record, Ill Bomb, that he had on Funkmaster Flex album. He said, I learned you can't eat if you hold beef with niggas underneath. Oof. Right? So it was like, damn, that shit, I ain't feel it back when I was in high school when it came out because I ain't really understand that.
You moving and grooving.
Yeah, as I got older, I understood that in this business especially, it's transactional.
Correct.
So if you feel like somebody did you wrong in a deal, or if you feel like you got the short end of the stick, or you feel like something occurred that didn't work in your best interest, in order for you to get any sort of replevin, you got to do more business.
Correct.
You can't beef with these people. You can't argue with these people. Things happen that might have been out of your control.
Definitely.
Because you didn't control it.
Definitely.
So, like, with my ups and downs, I've been rich, I've been broke, I've been up in the company account. I had $2 million in there. Next thing I look up, I got 20 grand.
I feel
you know what I mean? And that's just how business is.
Yeah. Based off our choices and decisions.
It happens like that. I might bet on a long shot, and the long shot might never come. So I throw this $600,000 into this over time, various projects, thinking I got this coming in.
Correct.
But I already being too assumptive can hold you hostage. Whew.
Because it's always we pray that it always come in all the time, but
that's
it's a lot going out when you run into business.
All the time. So the overhead is important. So what I've done.
We're going to get there in a minute,
too. Yeah, for sure. So what I've done is been able to maximize the wins and mitigate the losses, because the losses need to go into a lesson. Don't count it as a minus. The lesson is the education that you can't pay for. I don't give a fuck if you go to Harvard, Yale, Brown, Cornell, wherever you attend. Yeah. Like, the lesson, right, is in the loss. So most of the people that are in Cornell or in Brown or in NYU and these different universities and institutions, as great as they are, correct, there's no loss that comes along with that lesson. Nah. You know what I mean? So you get the lesson, but guess what? You can't attribute it to anything tangible. So when you can't do that, then you don't feel it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
When you feel it, though.
Books and pencils. You know what I mean? But when you feel it, it's a different type of... That's like somebody buckling down and saying, yo, all I got out here is my balls and my word, and I'm in the middle of the desert, and I got to make something shake. It ain't nothing else out here, right? So guess what? You have to go and grind and be in a space to say, yo, you ever been in a position that you start thinking of things that you never thought of before? When you had 300,000 or you had 30,000, whatever it was, you didn't think of these ideas, but let you have $3 grand left. You're like, shit, man, I need to come up with something that brain get to working.
That vice grip kicking in now. The vice grip.
But that's why can't we have that same vice grip
when you got it? Yeah.
So
without a doubt.
I think that's the tool, and I think that's the lesson within the lesson. Let's have that same vice grip when we still have it. That's what allows us to level up.
Which brings us to the next topic: financial literacy, or just finances in general. Now, this is it.
Literacy. Wow. Yeah, man. Wow.
Because you know where we about to go.
Oh, I'm sure.
Because everybody has a journey. So what I would ask you is, and at the end of the day, let's just be honest. I know who I am,
sure,
and you know who you are. Mm-hmm. It requires a certain amount of hustle and intellect, both
discipline,
scholar, discipline, things of this nature. So with getting to this point in your life, right? Mm-hmm. What decisions did you make financially to get there? Because it might have required you to have a car wash over here, or have relationships where you can make bread from this area. So what was some of the ways that help you get to this point financially in terms of you investing in yourself?
Sure, of course.
Get to Luxury Group.
Sure, of course. So the decision came from really wanting to put, really want to put forth, like, all right, so I had this thing where I never invested in anything that I wasn't interested in.
Correct.
Right? So it was like, I never wanted to invest in, let's say, for example, I want to invest in Gillette. Mm-hmm. I learned this lesson years ago from my uncle. He used to teach me, like, yo, you got to invest in the things that you use.
Correct.
Not just the things that you like. You know what I mean? So I was drinking Coca-Cola, so I invested in that.
Correct.
And then I started using, I was shaving. So I looked at the razor I was using. It was Gillette. I said, "Now, how many other bald heads is out here?"
Correct.
You know, and I started looking at certain things that I could afford to invest in.
Exactly.
Right. And then I also loved cars.
Definitely.
So I said, damn, man, like, how do I get into, investing in cars, right? And I was like, well, you know what? I ended up taking a lump sum and investing with one of my buddies, and he had like 4 car dealerships at the time.
Gotcha.
So I wanted to invest in something that I can partake in, whether that was driving a Ferrari here or there or having the latest Benz or whatever it was.
Correct.
I was able to get me a dealer plate, ride off for a couple of weeks, and come swap out the car while putting a certain dollar sum into the dealership business.
Correct.
And being able to sustain. So my thing was like, a lot of things go up and down.
Definitely.
One thing that doesn't go down is just commerce as a whole. You're going to need something. So if you're an investor inside of a car dealership, for example,
correct,
you partake in the wins, you partake in the losses.
Yeah.
The difference with being an owner is that you got to pay for the losses.
Oh, definitely.
If you're just an investor, you just take a hit when you don't make the profits.
Correct.
Right? So
correct.
I've been in the space to be, financially free because the decisions that I made early on was investing in things that I really had an appreciation for or I used.
And you understood what it was.
Of course. Just because I like it don't mean that it's going to make no money. You know what I mean? How much shit is out there right now? Motherfuckers investing that they like. That shit losing bread. You know what I mean? I can give you tons of examples. They said Kia was going to make an Apple car, 3 years ago. People took $10,000 and invested in that. And now the shit worth $3,500. You had people people believing and invest their last dollar in Bitcoin. Yo, Bitcoin's going to make $1 billion. Look at this company over here with the NFTs and with this and with that. And you put your last $100 grand in it, now it's worth $28,000.
Yeah.
So there are people who are well off of Bitcoin, but it depends on where you got in at.
And they were ahead of it.
Of course, because they knew about it before you did.
Correct.
So education is life's best, it's like experience is life's best teacher, but the education is what trumps the information. You got the information because it was passed down. When it was education, the people who got it won.
Correct.
When it was information, the people who got it just learned about it and decided what they could do with it.
Saturated, diluted now.
It happens. Same thing with female rap. There's too many female rappers, so you can't get one to climb above the other because it's a million of them to choose from. So, you have to be able to be,
differentiate.
And it's accessibility.
Yeah,
very much so. Yeah. So, I mean, financially, man, you want nothing more than to be able to just go out in your yard in the morning, get your cup of Joe, you feel me?
Yeah.
Get your J, and go look at the river that's behind your crib.
Meditation.
Yeah. You want that. You want that peace, right? But in order to get that peace, you're going to have to do a lot of shit that includes busyness. You know what I'm saying? And non-peace.
Yeah. Sometimes it can get a little grimy, man.
Ain't no question. What you mean? Look, I ain't never met something. Now look. Every deal ain't been a good one. I'm probably one of the executives that admit that. Look, there's been some deals that it could have went the other way.
Correct.
And I could have made some decisions to pay some other people. Like, watch this. Yeah. I didn't owe it to them.
Correct.
But I made the decision to say, yo, I need 80%.
Yeah.
I'm giving the opportunity.
Yeah.
I don't care what nobody says. Anybody that has been in any position of power, right, or has had any success right now to this day, I'm not saying you fucked over nobody. I'm just saying that it was some other decisions that you possibly could have made that would have paid you less. Yeah. But you decided to take more because you needed to get here.
Correct.
And the other person that took less,
still progressing.
They're still progressing.
Still coming in.
But they got what they agreed to.
Correct.
Now, if I know it's 100 points on the table, and I say I need to make 80, but rightfully so, that individual can negotiate to get half of that.
Correct.
But if they don't know, then guess what? I got to get the 80. Does that make me a scumbag? No, that just makes me the educated one.
Correct.
When they go to do their second and third or possibly fifth deal, they're the educated one.
Definitely. Definitely.
There's nothing wrong. No harm, no foul. Fair exchange is no robbery. I gave you the experience, right? You gave me the 80%. I gave you a career.
Yeah, for sure.
Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah. Especially when they don't understand. Now, I know you understand this. So overhead for a business. How do you, in your mind, and it's probably an annual plan.
Sure.
Of you after you look at numbers, crunch numbers, right?
Sure.
How do you address reducing overhead expense?
Right, sure.
Yeah. There's a lot of things involved in it.
Yeah, of course. No,
but it's main points that I know you can hit on. They'd be like, okay, we need to cut this shit off.
Sure.
This shit need to be taken down.
Sure.
A notch.
Well, this is what I've learned, that the relationships kind of, well, not even kind of, the relationships will trump the overhead. depending on the relationship.
Yeah.
So
of what's required.
Okay, give you an example. Just like we in this store right now.
Yeah.
Right?
Ooh,
okay,
Lord.
guess what? If you had to pay for every last garment that's in this motherfucker, right? Respectfully, just saying, you pay for every last garment that's in here, your relationship might have took you to where you got a net 120. Correct. You got a net sale. So every time you sell something, then you have to pay the person. Your overhead just went from $40,000 a month stocking this bitch to zero. You know what I'm saying? So the relationship. So now that $40,000 I was spending, now I can go into cosmetic. It can go into aesthetic. It can go into marketing, promotion. Now, my side of things, no matter what, even in the employee side, because nobody can do anything alone. I've been a master of bootstrapping. I've been a master of providing a business within a business. Correct. So the staff that originally had working with me, they had come on because they believed that it was a future involved in it. Correct. Which it was, but I also felt like, hey man, you guys still need to be making money in between. Definitely. So I got them to work. So my consultations would run $2,000. Every time somebody get on the phone with me for an hour, I would charge $2,000. And I would send the person who booked I would send the person to contact so they can book it, right? The people that work with me, they would run down the line. I would pay them $500 every time that they booked an appointment that I gave them. I gave it to them. I didn't have to give them anything. Correct. But I did that because I still knew that they were providing a certain quality and a certain expertise that was needed within my company. So I wanted to be able to provide, if not a salary, an opportunity to be able to make more than a salary because of who I am, what I do, and what is going on the daily. Now,
that's an excellent way to cut overhead.
That's the best way I cut overhead because I took a $35,000 overhead of salaries and cut it down to nothing. Correct. Because I had to have them believe in me. You know what I mean? Because me, I'm the one that's selling the story.
And they're going to make more than 35 when it's coming like that.
I could pay them $20,000. So watch this. I'm paying this person $15,000 a month, and I'm doing. But watch this. I'm doing 6 pub deals a month, right? I'm doing 17 consultations a month. Correct. Right? So I might be bringing in $90,000 that I can spread out, right, amongst the staff. Correct. Now, what would you rather do? You rather make $2,500 this week, or would you rather make $8,000? Yeah. Now, when you make $8,000, you might not make it again for another 8 weeks. So what?
Yeah, as long as you got proper back end,
and the
budgeting.
Experience and the stamp.
Yeah.
What's worth more than any dollar? The cosign.
The relationship.
You look at 42 Doug.
Yeah.
He wasn't nobody. Respectfully, right? Just saying, like, nobody in the market. Yeah, he was somebody in his city, all that. I'm talking about in the market. Yeah. Until Lil Baby.
As a brand.
As a brand until Lil Baby and Yo Gotti said, yo, this is the little homie to see. So it made everybody go, let's pay attention to the little homie to see. Correct. So that's what made it relevant for him. What was worth it for him? Was that worth it for him? That stamp that he just got from them, that was worth priceless. Because guess what? Now because they said he's cool, he's not getting $5,000 a show no more. He's getting 50. Yeah. He's getting 75 because of the stamp.
Off the rip.
So at the end of the day, it goes back to the conversation, and it goes back to the conversation of overhead. Correct. You know, at the end of the day, money saved is money made.
Every time.
You know, so
every time. Wrapping up financial perspective.
Sure.
Expansion. And we all know at the end of the day, you got to have some chop tucked to expand. Sure. But you have to have a plan for expansion.
That's right.
Before, the expansion chop is tucked.
Sure, of course.
Yeah, so
you got to have a plan to get the chop.
When should any business owner or entrepreneur or independent consider expanding? We already know you got to have the bread,
of course.
But what's the highlight light bulb go off? Like, I need to start planning. This thing is about to go right and left. It's about to get real strong
for a need. Yeah. You have to look at the need. So if I'm in Atlanta and I'm based in Atlanta, and I know my brand is actually taking off in California.
Correct.
To LA, and I know the cost of living is much higher than Atlanta.
Definitely.
We understand that. But I'm feeling that it's costing me more money to ship my products out there, for me to conversate out there. If I can be there, look at what my exposure is now. So now, imagine if I'm there, it could be 10 times as bigger, because there's no telling how long this is going to go on for, right? So how I feel is that the calling of the product, the calling of the brand is going to be the need for expansion. So when you don't expand until you have somebody pulling your rubber band so you can't expand, that means that California is pulling from you. New York is pulling from you.
Correct.
So I need to expand, which basically means that even if I stay in Atlanta, I need to expand my bandwidth in my warehouse or get a distributor, manufacturer that can actually constitute my larger orders that are coming in.
Correct. That's actually a great way to put it.
AKA, you go where the money go. You go where the money calling. Where's calling? Oregon? I'm on my way. Fuck you mean?
Yeah.
I'm on my way. You think what you mean?
Yeah,
Yo, it's like, I ain't
travel.
going out there. Why not? What you talking about? Where? Nebraska? I'm on the way. These people paying me $191,000 a month to teach at their campus.
Come on,
I'm on the way.
Yeah.
What do you mean?
Yeah.
That's enough for me to fly back on a private jet every other couple of days to get back home.
Yeah, quick.
Don't make the decision and trick yourself out the bag.
Ooh, boy.
Trying to fuck you trying to fuck the pussy. You ain't trying to get fucked out of it.
Correct. Want to stay in it if possible.
Man. I'm trying to tell you on my soul.
All right.
Jumping over $1 to get to a penny.
Ooh, Lord. Okay, that's real chop talk right there. With cloth talk.
Say that.
Based on your past.
Sure.
All right. And dealing with the ups and downs. Sure. This ain't even necessarily about business. It's just your personal life.
Okay.
Of dealing with the ups and downs. What advice would you give any man or woman to stay the course of their journey and walk in their purpose?
Yo,
because the ups and downs is gonna make it for somebody that's not mentally strong. They're gonna be all over the place.
No doubt.
You know what I'm saying?
Well, I've learned this, right? Like, big shout out to E.T., man.
Yeah.
Eric Thomas, man. You know, I had learned this from him. You know, when you get up in the morning, right? You get up in the morning, no matter what you do. Like, if you're not working a job, like, get up, I gotta be there at 9:30, whatever.
Yeah.
You're getting up and you're shooting your gun everywhere, right? Without no structure.
Yeah.
Right? So what happens is that life in itself, you know what I'm saying? Life in itself, like, there's ups and downs to everything.
Correct.
Right?
It's a part of it.
Of course, 1,000,000%. And you have to always understand that getting into this business with the wins and the losses, the only difference between me and everybody else that I know is that I just kept going. You know what I'm saying? I just didn't quit. Like, I done been through like wild emotional periods. I done been through shit where I felt like shit wasn't working, and I felt like it wasn't gonna work, and I felt like people wasn't loyal. Or
you didn't give up on yourself.
I just didn't give up. You know what I mean? I kept going. I kept going, right? So when I kept going, the crazy part about it is that when I kept going, my head was down, and when I looked up, it was like 18 million records sold. And I was like,
you were very focused.
They telling me, this was a few years ago, it was non-existent.
Correct.
And I kept going.
Yeah.
So it was like, it made me be a stronger person in the room. It allowed me to have the leverage. It allowed me to dial a phone number and say, you can't not take my call because I am Verse. I am the one who cultivated these records to make these hits, to sell these millions of records. I've been, look, 5 years is 23 million records sold.
Correct.
It count for something.
You damn right.
Coco Jones, ICU, Riding #1. Then the remix, Riding #1. Sam Smith, Unholy, Riding #1. Three-Headed Goat, Riding Top 10, #1, #2. Lil Durk. This is what, I'm looking up and I'm like, oh shit. Emmanuel, 10 million sold.
Strong.
What do you mean? So it's like, when I make these calls, it's like, hey man, you should already know who I am. It felt really good the other day when I was on an email with a really superpower lawyer, and it was actually crazy because he said in the email, he said, man, first, I'm happy to be acquainted. I know exactly who you are. I know your track record, bro. You've done amazing. You're great at what you do. Now, this is a motherfucker who talking to me on the email who we get ready to send $1.2 million to because he got a tab.
Correct.
You feel? And I'm like, damn. I'm like, like, boy. And then I go over here to another company. No name, no blame. They manage and house some of the largest artists in the world. And I'm the young lady, send an email and say, I'm very familiar with the luxury group. I know exactly who you guys are and what you do. That meant everything to me.
Correct.
That meant that, guess what? I've been lemon pepper stepping.
Yeah,
listen, man, this person that's over here, they don't even know who niggas is.
Correct.
They don't know. They know me. They know me. They don't
Recognition
know,
is everything.
Is everything. So when people say, bro, my name wasn't in the credits, that's very important.
Correct.
When my name ain't in the credits, bro, I can't get my accolade. It's for me.
Yeah.
That's why the plaques is on the wall. That's why you see in the credits in the metadata, I want to make sure my name say a certain thing. Kai versus Tyler. Nigga, I'm putting it down. That's what the plaques say. You know what I'm saying? So credit means more than anything. Because guess what? If a nigga don't get the $2 million from this right here, let me share this with you. He still was responsible for Lady Gaga.
Correct.
So he can go to whomever's interested in that or not interested in that and say, yo, you know Lady Gaga? Yeah, I'm familiar. I birthed her. You did? Man, I loved her. She was amazing. So what we need to do?
Yeah.
That's your stamp right there.
Yeah.
And they Google something, they can see it.
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, one thing about
boomerang effect.
I mean, come on now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm
You
saying?
throw it out there, it's coming back.
Ain't never lied to you once.
Yeah.
So, you know.
Man, you know, this has been a very great episode. So you got to let people know.
Sure.
The handles.
Oh,
the
yeah,
sites.
without a doubt. Without a
you
doubt.
Know,
without a doubt.
Where to find Verse?
All right, so you can find Verse on all platforms. Cloth Talk, CLOTHTALK, Kai Verse Tyler, but Cloth Talk Verse on Instagram, at Cloth Talk Verse. Go across the board. Twitter, Instagram, TikTok, everything. Be on the lookout. The new ebook, Mastering Your Network, Mastering Your Money, Mastering Your Mind. Please be on the lookout for the couples workbook that Carly Red and I have coming out.
That's gonna
really
be strong.
Amazing.
Yeah.
The luxury group, new Versy coming out. We got Grand Kai out right now, Chuck Naylor out right now. We got a lot of things going on right now. It's just really amazing. I think that it's really great that you guys are tapped in to what the culture is, because guess what? The music could take you everywhere, right? The keys took me everywhere. It took me to branding. It took me to fragrances. It took me to soundtracks. It took me to syncs. It took me everywhere. So now, if you own it on your craft, remember, it's brand over belief, education over information. That's who I am. That's what I do. I teach what's taught. Harie, thank you for having me.
Salute.
Chop 2.
My brother.
Chop Talk, salute.
Yeah.
My brother, man. You already know what it is,
Appreciate
man.
you,
That
brother.
way. Man, listen, you already know we locked in love too, my brother. Straight like that.